Hello, my dearest friends of good design. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Daily Creative Challenges in Adobe Illustrator. My name is Julia Masalska and I'm your host for this challenge series. Welcome everybody in the chat. We have Richard who is on time. Great, good job. Jay is here and Gareth is here. Umacorn, Stony, wow. So many amazing people. Yeah, the sound was up too much. Tone it down just a little bit. We don't want to hurt your ears. Everybody who's joining us on YouTube, make sure to join us at be.net/Adobe Live. This is where I am reading the chat and you can ask questions and participate and get to know everybody else who's participating in our Adobe family, Adobe Live family chat. Cool. Aaron and Susan and Adnan also joining us. Carol, Fergie, hi. Awesome. All right, my friends. So this challenge series is all about logo design, and every single day we're learning a new tool to become better at designing logos using different techniques. So I'm super excited for today's challenge. First things first, if you're just joining us on this platform and have never participated in the Daily Creative Challenges before, check out bit.ly/AI Discord. That's our Discord channel where we are communicating, we're talking, and we're sharing our stuff here. As you can see, here are some submissions from yesterday. We have Margarita designing different logo lockups for her personal logo, looks like. And then we have Mwendwa also designing some different lockups. So yesterday's challenge was all about designing different lockups of a logo. So what's today's challenge? Are you all excited? If you want to see it, if you want to access the starter file, head over to behance.net/challenge/illustrator. This is where you can get the access to the starter file once you click get started right here. So get started, you can get a starter file, and you can also replay this, watch video, right? But now you're here live, so you don't need to click that, but you can also feel free to check out the past challenges. So yesterday's challenge and the Tuesday's challenge as well. So we have another 6 more to go after this. Awesome. So let's get started. And today's challenge is all about creating a gradient logo. We're going to be designing a logo using the gradient tool. And if you click get started and download the starter file, you will see something like, oh, where is it? Where did it go? Oh, it's right here. Oops. Okay, so there we go. The Daily Creative Challenge number 3 today with logo design, designing a gradient logo. Now let me know in the chat if you all have worked with gradients before and if you use gradients in logos. Sometimes using a gradient in a logo is not the best idea, especially when the logo is being used for print. So whenever you're designing a logo with a gradient for a client, make sure to give them an alternative that does not include a gradient, because a gradient is not always printable with all the printing techniques, right? So very excited about this, and today's tools are going to be the selection tool, shortcut V on your keyboard, direct selection tool to customize, shortcut A on your keyboard, type tool, shortcut T, and then we have the gradient tool, shortcut G. Awesome. And here we have we have a little step-by-step guide. If you guys want to repeat this on your own time, feel free to check it out. All right, so what are we going to do today? We're going to be designing gradients. And basically what a gradient is, it's a shape filled with different colors, and the colors always have points, right? So we have one color point right here and one color point right here. Now, what the gradient does is it mixes up the colors together, and we can determine how. So right now I'm in the properties panel and I can go in and edit the gradient. And you can see I have these 2 points and I can distribute the color differently, right? You can see if I pull the purple to the right side, it will become more purple. And if I pull the orange to the left side or to the center, it will become more orange, and the colors shift that way. Another way to edit this is if we access this little point in the middle, it is basically also a way to determine the distribution of color. So let's say we want to create something where the orange overweights and the purple is kind of more directed on the side. We can move the slider over here and determine which color has more dominance, right? Another thing that we can do is we can turn the gradient. We can turn the gradient and we can also resketch it. So once we are in the editing tool, we can go in and just start making the gradient new. All right. Another thing we can do is we can add color points. So once I'm hovering next to the little line that determines the gradient, we can add a color point. Once we have this little element up here that says plus, it's basically a selection element and plus. Next to it, you can add another color. And when you double click into it, you can determine which color this is. Whoa, this is a really bright color. Maybe like a blue, so we can see it. And in any case, double clicking on any of these colors will allow you to change that color to anything that you want. We can also go into this one, and we can also sample colors with a color picker. So we can go in and sample any color around our gradient. Now, there are more than one gradient tools. There are different types of gradients. There is the linear gradient that we have right now, which is basically determined by the line that we just saw. Then we have the radial gradient that goes towards the center. It's basically like a circular gradient. And then we also have the freeform gradient, which is really exciting, and it's one of my favorite tools, where you have different points and it's not neither a line nor a circle. It's just points that kind of occupy a specific color and space. So once you move around these points, you will see that the color will distribute. And now if you want the color to distribute even more and be more dominant, you can go on the little, around the little circle, there is another circle that we can pull out, and that color will then become way more dominant, right? You can see the orange is way more intense now. Now if I pull it back, it becomes a little bit smaller, right? So just like that. And in this manner, we can remove and add points as well. So if we click anywhere outside of any gradient points, we can add a color. By double clicking, we can change it up. Now, if we want to remove a color, we can simply pull it out of the shape. Or I believe we can even just click the delete button. So select the color, click the delete button, and the color is gone. All right, so that's how the point gradient, a freeform gradient works with different color points that you can basically create. All right, so today's challenge is going to be all about creating a logo that has a gradient in it. What we're going to do though is we're going to have something like this, where the logo is actually in black or white color, and then only the background shows a gradient, because we want to provide our client with a logo that's functional. And in this case, I would provide the client with a logo that's only this black and white version, black or white. And in addition to that, I'm going to provide them with a gradient logo that has a gradient in the background. Okay. All right, so let's get started, and I'm going to remove these two for now. Let's select a typeface for our logo. And for that, we're going to fonts.adobe.com, and here we can select any kind of name. So maybe I'll write something like fantastic. There we go. Fantastic Masalska. That's funny. Okay, so, and then we are going to select the font that we want to play with. Maybe a nice cursive font. This one looks really, really pretty, Quimby. I'm going to view the family, and I'm going to activate this font on my computer in my Illustrator. So I'm going to activate that, and I have to keep the name in mind, Quimby. Now let's type something in like fantastic. There we go. Right now it's really dark over here somewhere. We're going to make it white for now, and we're going to make it really large. So here we have 72. We can also go and double click into our character settings for the font size and type in something like 300, because why not go really big and bold. All right, now let's center align this, and we are going to select our font. That was, let's see, Quincy, I think, or something like that. Quimby, right there. So we have Quimby right here, and we can make that just a little bit smaller, maybe like a 200, just like that. All right, now we have that. We can make some adjustments in our logo if we want to. We can outline this with Command Shift and O. Now we have transferred the live text into vectors, and you can see that all the different letters, you can still move them around, right? Now what we want to do here is, since the letters are all connected, we want to create a little join, a united version of this. So we're going to click Unite, and we're going to create a copy of this. So we're going to hold Option, click and drag to the top, and we're going to use one of these, and we're going to apply a huge stroke. So we're going to make the stroke really big, something like that. And we can also determine the color of the stroke for now to be white, so we can see it better. Okay, there are some points that we might have to correct right now, but that's okay, that's totally fine. And we can also click on the stroke, and we can make sure that the stroke is aligned to the outside of our text. All right, and we can maybe make it just a little bit smaller, something like that. All right, so now that we have that, we want to outline the stroke, and I'm going to go to Object, Expand Appearance, right? And then you can see that we have a vector line that kind of goes around the stroke, a vector line that goes around the font. And so we have several vector lines, but we want to, again, join all of these, unite all of these, and we have this one big shape that we have in the background. Let's go in here and fix some of these little issues. I see this little corner. I want to have it a little bit more round. So I'm going into the direct selection tool where I can actually work with the points, and I'm just going to use or actually let's just make that point around it basically a smooth vector, and I'm going to just do something like this. All right, make it nice and round. There we go. And the same thing we're going to do here as well. So we're going to select the point that now is a corner point, but we want to make it a smooth point. So something like that. All right. A little customization here. You might not have this problem depending on the font that you choose, but I wanted to fix it so it doesn't look that abrupt. Now it's nice and fluffy and cloudy. That's exactly what we want to achieve. This one we're gonna push to the top, and maybe we can even make that one a color, maybe let's make it black. All right, now we can see we have this little overlap going on. Now let's go and select the background color, and let's apply a gradient to it. So I'm going to use the gradient tool, and I'm going to click on it, and I'm going to click on that shape. Now you can see we have a radial gradient that was applied. But what I want to do is I want to use a freeform gradient because I want to make it look really fantastic. All right, now that I have all the points around here, I can move them around, and I can select any of the colors that I want to use. Maybe not black, maybe something more colorful. So I'm simply selecting all the points, and I'm giving them a specific color. Right? You can also go in and kind of mix it yourself if you want. So maybe we can go for something like that. And then the blue can be something a little bit more light because I want to create that contrast from my background. And then this red can also be something maybe going towards pink. Or let's see what else we've got here. Maybe something like that. That looks good. And this color, maybe we can make it a little bit more pink. Yeah, there we go. That's pretty cool, right? So now we can still add points, we can subtract points, we can modify it the way we want to make it. So what I can also do is I can, of course, before I kind of start making the outline, I could have, you know, pushed these together, customized the font a little bit, and made it a little bit more a better transition. I see there are some little tweaks that I can make. So for example, here I can go in with a direct selection tool, and again I can adjust the point just a little bit, move around the handles and make it a little bit more smooth, right? Something like that. So I am trying to be very detail oriented when designing logos, and I think that's really important because these little edges might give the logo a different character than we want, right? Because actually this font is very smooth, it's very friendly, very inviting, but there are some of these little points that are kind of not looking really smooth. So I'm trying to fix those. Again, here I'm doing the same thing, and I'm just going to adjust that with the handles and the anchor points. So clicking on the point, you can adjust the handles here as well. All right, so that's basically how it works, and that's how I customize my logos as well for my clients. I'm always kind of tweaking a little bit and making little adjustments in the details, right? Same thing here as well. Sometimes you have to zoom out, and there are these handles, they are a little bit further apart, like that. And let's smoothen out this portion here as well. Okay, so all right, this looks great. I think this looks really fun. You can also feel free to go back to the selection tool using the shortcut V, and then you can create a copy of this. We are selecting the background, little gradient, and then we are holding Shift and selecting the text. You can also group those with Command and G if you like, but we're going to hold Option and create a copy of this, and maybe we can experiment with slightly different colors and see, you know, what will come out of that. And maybe we can even experiment with like a linear gradient or circular gradient, whatever you prefer. So here I'm going to back to edit gradient, and I can also determine the colors here, and I can simply also pick the colors from my little section here that basically shows us all the color hues and saturation, something like that, right? And feel free to create a couple variations of this. Feel free to experiment and see what works best, and also feel free to play around with those little handles to distribute the color, right? Something like that. Let's make that one also a little bit more colorful, maybe on this kind of side of things. Yeah, so now you can see I have two versions of this gradient, and let's say if I'm working with a client, it's always great to have some variety, so I might show them different variations of the gradient in the background and see which one you know, they like the best or works the best for the brand. Awesome. Robert is saying now it got to be a angry big thunder cloud. Yeah, it was earlier when we were using the black color in it, right? Cool. Yeah, and another tip that I want to give you is, so let's say you're working with something like that, and you want to create a gradient inside the text. Let's make a copy of this, and let's make it white. Double clicking into my fill, adjusting the color. Let's push these a little bit down. So let's say I want to create a gradient inside here, inside this shape. I want to make sure that the shape is joined. So in this case, what I would do is I would push the F a little bit closer here, and I would join these two objects. I will make sure that they are one shape, because if you have separate letters, it's not going to work for you, because the separate letters will take a separate gradient, right? So we want to have one joint shape, and then we can apply a gradient to it. So again, I can go in And I can even, you know what I can even do? I can sample a gradient. So I can select my shape, press the key letter I on my keyboard, and sample the gradient in here, and it's going to turn the exact color. Now you can see what I was just talking about. The I is kind of a separate shape because it's not joined to all the others. While all the letters are interconnected with each other, the I is not. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in here and I'm going to connect the I to this as well. And I'm going to join these. There we go. Now the I took on the gradient of the whole word. The whole world. Ooh. Okay, and then we can also play around with something like that, where we can place this in the background, something like this. Of course, now that doesn't quite match up because the F, we have moved it, so let's just remove that. But yeah, I would like you all to experiment with this and to submit it into our Discord channel, and let me know if you all have any questions. Cool, the dot on the I, yes, exactly. Okay. Fantastic. Is that something that, like, oh yeah, I think that might be a word that Plati says a lot. Yeah, that's true. Oh, awesome. Oh, I miss my Claudia. Cool. Is it possible to turn a design into a movable GIF? It is possible with Photoshop. You could do that. But in Illustrator, as far as I know, so far, we don't have animation features. If I'm not mistaken, I don't think we have animation features yet here, but you can definitely do it in Photoshop with the different layers. Cool, this looks fun. Yay, it is fun. It is fun. Why not play around with color? Print works, right? They're like tiny little dots if you look very close. But in spot print, it's really hard to achieve a gradient because spot color is being applied to a specific shape. In this case, it will be applied to this whole shape here, and it will be just one color tone. And the more color tones you have in spot color print, the more expensive it gets, because every single color needs a specific preset that needs to be kind of adjusted. So gradients in spot color print, really hard to get. And spot color print is being used a lot in packaging, so you always want to give the client the option that's just plain color. In digitally, it's no problem to use gradients, but in print there is, and that's why I always say there should be always an alternative that's not a gradient. Okay, cool. All right, Pantones, yay. All right, friends, so now let's export this, and I'm going to remove these two for now, and I'm going to keep it simple. So which one are we taking, 1 or 2? I think I like the 1 better. It's a little bit more clean. This one has quite a few spots where I'm like not very satisfied with the color in between, so I'm just going to remove this one, and this is our final fantastic logo. Yay, cool. And I'm going to export this now by going to File, Export, Export As. And here I'm going to select Use Artboards because I don't want to export my whole workspace. I just want to export this artboard that I've set up for you. And I'm going to export it in PNG or JPEG, whatever you prefer. We have different other file formats like CSS, BMP. SVG is a vector file, so if you want to share a scalable logo file, you can use SVG, but I think for our purposes, PNG or JPEG are more than enough. All right, so I'm clicking export, and now I can also adjust some settings here. I can adjust the resolution. 150 points per inch is perfect. The usual screen resolution is 72, but if somebody wants to zoom in, 150 is more than perfect. For print, you need 300. Okay, background color, transparent. We have everything filled with color anyway, so it doesn't make a difference. All right, I have exported my logo now, and now I'm going into Discord, and I'm going to click the little plus element over here to upload my file, or I can simply drag and drop my file into into the chat. So just simply drag and drop the file. I'm going to quickly find it on my computer, and then we can do that. Cool. All right, there we go. So this is my file, dragging and dropping it to the challenge, my challenge of today. And I'm gonna add a little smiley, something like that. All right, and now my challenge is already uploaded. You can see it all in our Discord where it says challenge feedback. And here again, real quick, the link to our Discord, bit.ly/AI Discord. All right, my friends. So I'm really excited to see y'all's submissions, and I will see y'all tomorrow for the next challenge. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.